Good morning, everyone. I've gotten whenever I mention electrology, I inevitably get quite a bit of mail from girls that are considering electrology, girls that are considering having laser done, and they're really two different things. The interesting thing about it is Janet, my good friend Janet, had laser done, and I've only been strictly electrology. You know, laser uses a very concentrated, very powerful beam of light to get in there and basically, after several sweeps, get to the hair follicle and destroy it so it doesn't grow, you know, regrow again and all that. And sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. You know, the difference is electrology gets down there root by root, gets to the base of it and tries to catch it in the proper part of the cycle by putting a electric current, a moderate electric current at the base of that follicle. It can basically destroy the ability of the hair to regenerate and grow. That's the theory of it. But you know, when you have electrology done, you're never quite sure, and the laser too, you're never quite sure where you are in the cycle in terms of having the hair grow. You know, if it's not at the proper part of the cycle when they perform the electrology, then there's a great chance, greater than the average chance, that that's going to grow back again, just like it would with laser. So consequently, the average beard, according to most experts that study electrology in transgender girls, is it takes about 200 hours to generally clear a beard. But you know, you're never really done ever clearing totally, because there's always regrowth and all that. So years ago I started electrology, and I'm up to about 180 hours now, but you can definitely still feel whiskers and things, because what my electrologist did, and she wasn't the best in the world, I've got a great one now, but at that time she swept down and picked all the dark hairs, because they would be the ones that would show. They're the ones that give the shadowing. They're the ones that appear visible when you have a beard. And you know, if your makeup wears off or something like that, then you see the darkness of the stubble. And you know, it means you have to constantly worry about covering and all that. Well, you know, we still cover, at least I do to this day. So what I'm basically doing now is sweeping getting the white hairs done. And the thing with the white hairs is they tend to be much tougher for some reason. And both of these electrologists have agreed that you know, the white hairs are more difficult to get out. So you know, I figure about 18-20 more sessions, and that should about do it for me. And if not, it's just going to have to be good enough, because the beauty is when I do shave down, and I do shave down on occasions, it gets ultra smooth and it lasts for days, which is really nice. So it's getting down to it now. Is electrology painful? Yeah, sure, it's painful. You know, like anything, any procedure where you're introducing an electric shock, an electric current, you get the heat down there, and sometimes on some of the hairs you don't feel anything, and on other hairs you just you're almost welling up with tears, because that hair follicle tends to be so close to a nerve that you know, it's just excruciating. But what I've learned to do, and most girls do this too, is I always pop a couple Tylenol or a couple ibuprofen before I come out on electrology, and that helps to really reduce the pain quite a bit. I'd always had this dream, you know, that electrologists would be certified to use a very light topical anesthesia like a lidocaine or something like that. But the American Medical Association, the doctor group in America, is adamantly opposed to anybody except you know, registered physicians or you know, advanced nurse practitioners using anesthesiology on patients. So it's something that we have to endure, and that's just the way it is. And I'm always struck, my girlfriend Missy Jen, when she was having some follow-up electrolysis done after her laser, and she's basically all clear and lovely, but when she was having, under the lip is the most painful sort of area, and I got most of mine tended to under there, but the electrologist saw her sort of crying with tears rolling down her cheek. It was so painful. And the electrologist says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Do you want me to turn it down?" And you know, Missy Jen being German and all that, she said, "Oh no, those are tears of joy rolling down my cheeks. I'm so happy to have this done. Just burn it all out, turn it up higher." So you have to like admire her spunk. So, what does it cost for electrolysis? It depends on your area of the country. I pay, at my other electrologist, I paid about $50 per hour. At this one, I'm paying $76 an hour, but I'm getting a much better deal because this electrologist doesn't talk. She's very professional. She just puts the music on. You put the eye cups on your eye. You lay back on her table, and she does her thing. And an hour later, you're out of there. And I try to do 2 hours a week of electrolysis, but she really does a fine job. So you should figure anywhere from $50 to $80 an hour. I'm sure probably you get up in Manhattan and places like that, or downtown San Francisco and LA, you might pay upwards of $80, $100 an hour. They have a place called Electro 2000 down in Plano, Texas, and this is a really kind of, you know, if you want to go brutal and really get it all done, you know, you can actually go to this place in Texas, and for like $8,000 in like 2 sessions over 2 days, they will clear your face with electrolysis. Now, I'm not quite sure how they do that. The only thing I can think of, since electrolysis is one hair at a time, that they're actually using, and I think this is the case, they're using, you know, multiple people to do the electrolysis on you. And I tell you, I've seen girls come out of that and they look like they've been through a 15-round prize fight with Muhammad Ali and came out on the bad end of it. But the end result is, you know, after the swelling goes down in a week or so, they're really gloriously clear, and it's just a matter of going back and doing cleanup and all that. So that's the most interesting. I call that sort of electrolysis extreme. You want to go sign up, and it might have been more cost effective for me, because you do 200 hours at an average of $50, $60 an hour. You're at $10,000 to $12,000 anyway for electrolysis. You figure in the plane ride, you figure in the hotel and all that, and you know, it probably comes out about the same, but it gets it all done in like one hellish 36-hour period, which is kind of cool. Anyway, that's the deal. I'm pulling into the getting ready to pull into the electrologist's office here. I have an 8:15 appointment. It's 8:02. But since I do get so many questions on the electrolysis cost, how it's done, and you know, all that, what the theory is behind it, that you know, I hope it's helpful. I would not try to do electrolysis at home. They have kits, but you can pit your skin and other things. This is the type of thing you really want a professional on the job, and you want to make sure your electrologist is an LE, licensed electrologist by the state, meaning they went to school and they had you know, X numbers of practicum and real life experience and testing before they were licensed. You know, your face is your calling card. and you don't want anybody, just anybody, fiddling with it and putting electric currents and burns and all that on it. So be careful, and you know, best of luck, and I hope that answers the questions. All right, on to electrology. Let's bear down and be brave.